China has just hit a number that makes the American EV market look tiny. There are many numbers that make that comparison very interesting. In May, a couple of months ago, 2026, new energy vehicles reached 62.9% of retail car sales in China. In the United States, electric vehicle sales were just 5.8% of new vehicle sales in the first quarter of this year. So in the market share terms, China is now more than 10 times ahead of the United States. By some measures, you could actually stretch that further and say 13 times. New energy vehicle retail sales were about 950,000 units. Petrol and diesel car sales in China were left with the remaining 37.1%. So that actually means in the world's largest car market, the old combustion car is now the smaller category of the couple of categories. So that is an extraordinary shift. And the really interesting part is that China's new energy vehicle sales were actually down 7.5% year on year in May. So that record 62.9% share did not happen because EV sales exploded in May. That is not the case at all. It happened simply because the petrol car market fell apart even faster. Conventional combustion passenger vehicle retail sales in China dropped by 39% year on year in May, specifically for the month of May. Think about that for 1 second. A 39% drop in petrol and diesel car sales in 1 year. That is not a little bit of a transition. That's not gentle or subtle. That is a structural change in the market. And when you compare that with America, the difference is massive. In Q1 2026, the US sold 216,399 new electric vehicles. That was actually down 27% year on year. EVs were 5.8% of total new vehicle sales, unchanged from Q4 at the end of last year in 2025, and well below the US peak of 10.6% in Q3 last year. So that is the main difference. One market is basically treating EVs as the default future. Of course, that would be China. The other market in America, they're still sort of debating whether EVs are the future and whether they can, I don't know, maybe sell more Ford Rangers or Dodge Rams or something. So if you look at the actual monthly volume, the gap gets more interesting. China sold around 150,000 new energy vehicles at retail in May. The US sold 216,400 EVs, or actually 399 EVs, not 400 EVs, across the whole first quarter, which is about 72,000 per month on average. If you compare China's May number with the US monthly average from Q1, China is selling roughly 13 times as many electrified vehicles. Again, not a perfect apples to apples comparison. There is a little bit more nuance than that. But when you consider plug-in hybrids and range extenders, it changes slightly, but it does show the scale difference really. And if you use the global registration data from Benchmark Mineral Intelligence, very good source to get some data from, China had around 987,000 EV registrations in the month of May, which is just insane. While all of North America had around 123,000. So China alone was doing about 8 times the electric vehicle volume of the North American market in that entire region. That is mind-bending. So this is also why Chinese car companies are becoming so aggressive overseas. They are also coming from a domestic market where competition is just insanely brutal. I spent some time in China. I've had, I think I've probably got another 2 events to visit in the next couple of months, just until the end of August, 2 more visits. So I obviously go quite a bit. I do get to see it, and I sort of have some good chats when I'm there, so it's really fascinating. In China, buyers can compare dozens of EVs. This is not hype or something like that. This is genuinely the case. Vehicles in China, such as the BYD Seagull, even in China, it's considered insanely cheap. And it's a bit weird. It's kind of like, if you're in the UK and you wanted to go buy a new little electric car, the sort of price you'd have to pay now in the UK, the sort of price you'd have to pay now in the UK would be, sort of 15,000 for a really like a bog standard little electric car that's not that great. Well, the BYD Seagull in China is the equivalent of paying £7,000 or £8,000 in in the context of the United Kingdom today. It's that big of a difference. It really is just insanely cheap in China. So yeah, because competition is so intense, prices just keep getting pushed down. It's pretty brutal. Technology is improving, obviously. Even cheaper cars now come with BYD's God's Eye, or versions of it. So that is why China keeps exporting so many electrified vehicles at the minute. In May, China exported 424,000 new energy vehicles. That was up 112.5% year on year. New energy vehicles were also 54% of China's total passenger vehicle exports, which was a record for China. That means China is not just electrifying its own market domestically, it is beginning to electrify its export machine. This big arm, and they export a lot of cars, and they've even created in the last 10 years the Belt and Road Initiative, which is just wildly insane. What an amazing thing. Just quickly, I'm not in the office. Sorry about that. I haven't had time to go through the office and set it all back up again. I've only just got back to Europe. This is the first day back home, so I'm just going to film from another room in the house. So yeah, this is where it becomes a problem for the United States. The US has tariffs. It also has Donald Trump. Policy changes, tax credits, tax credit uncertainty, I should say, high vehicle prices, charging issues, a car market still heavily built around large petrol SUVs and pickup trucks. China also has cheap EVs under $10,000 equivalent of, family EVs under $20,000 US dollars equivalent of, fast charging EVs, plug-in hybrids with massive, huge claimed ranges, and battery companies such as CATL and BYD driving costs down at insane speeds. So when people say that the US is behind China on EVs, this is kind of what they mean, really. It's not just one number, it's by many metrics, and yeah, it's an insane thing. It is battery supply chains, it's affordable models, it's charging infrastructure, it's manufacturing scale, it's the software, it's the growth, it's the batteries, the customer adoption, it's the speed at which petrol cars are actually just losing market share every year. I also read the other day in the UK, I think it's 4 or 5%, 5.5% of new car sales now in the UK are diesels, which is a big drop from, I think, the other year it was 16%, now it's 5%. So people aren't buying diesels in the UK. That also is a topic of discussion in China. People aren't buying Chinese diesels or petrols in nowhere near the same sort of numbers as they were 5 years ago. So yeah, the United States still has some strength, still has Tesla. You know, Tesla is a hugely important company. They make very good cars. The US still has enormous capital markets, strong tech companies, big automakers, and some serious battery investment going on within the United States. But the consumer market is not moving at the same sort of speed, and car markets are shaped by what people actually buy, fundamentally. And in China, nearly 2 out of every 3 vehicles sold in May, a couple of months ago, were electrified vehicles. In the United States, it was closer to 1 out of every 17. That gap is massive. It's a huge gap. And yeah, it raises a very uncomfortable question for American automakers. If China keeps scaling EVs, cutting battery costs, improving plug-in hybrids, exporting more and more vehicles every year, how does the US catch up without cheaper cars? And at what point do they decide that they look a little bit old? With, you know, like if you still use horse and carts in the UK, for example, but everywhere else is driving around in petrols and diesels, it's like that again. So if in the US, if they're driving around in V8 pickup trucks, for example, and you know, around the rest of the world, everyone's just driving self-driving cars, or there's lots of beautiful Zeekrs and Xpengs and BYDs knocking around. At what point does that become just weird and not even something that they should be considering in the US? You know, even if not everybody wants electric vehicles, I understand that, but it has to really just go one way. I think many countries around the world are aware of this. It's also a very good way to localize you know, where we buy energy from, instead of buying diesel or petrol from abroad. That's one of the big concerns too for economists, so that you can just produce the energy within your continent, within your country, that sort of thing. And yeah, countries like the US have insane amounts of skill, some of the best engineers in the world, very clever people, a lot of money, some of the best fintechs in the world, companies, brilliant, insanely good, brilliant minds. So I'm sure they could do it if they wanted to. I don't think the US wants to, but fortunately, a lot of Americans do. And I mean, you can also, if you want to read some stuff about this on the internet, Larry Evans from Clean Technica, fascinating guy, makes some really good articles about this stuff. I also saw him in China a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago. Yeah, a few other people I should mention, but yeah, Larry Evans, very, very interesting writer from Clean Technica. Thank you for watching. Thank you to these people on screen. These are the people who have joined as a member, anyone who's chucked me a few dollars a month. Thank you so much. You can also book me for a one-on-one consultation to talk about your next EV purchase. If you've got any questions about which vehicles are reasonable for you, which ones to avoid. I mean, if you're in a hot climate, you may have questions about which ones have good air conditioning, which ones can keep the batteries healthy and cool for longer. I mean, we all know that you can walk past a Tesla in a hot place like Texas or Brisbane and you can hear the fans just chugging along, but that's because Teslas do very good battery maintenance. So they can really maintain themselves and keep their batteries healthy for longer. So that's really, really good. But you can book me for a consultation, even if you've got a solar project for your house or you want to talk about battery storage, that's also okay. So thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.